Well, it should be broadcasting, but I seem to not be, seems to not be working. Let's live. Let's go back. Let's go here. Up and coming, it says. Why does it say up and coming? That's because I set the broadcast for, yeah, okay. Well, I am broadcasting. Let me go back here. Bear with me here. So I got two broadcasting. Come join live, which is this one. Okay, now let me just make sure. See if I see that. I do. Okay. Now, why is it not doing audio? That is the $40 million question. Let's make sure that I'm on the right audio device. I am. Well. Guess you'll have to bear with me here as I'm trying to figure out how to get the audio to work. My microphone does seem to be working. Let me shut that off. Let me go to settings, stream, yeah, audio, yeah. Well, I am not knowing. No, I am not knowing. Microphone is right. Speakers are right. Let me test my speakers and make sure they're. I mean, I can hear sounds. I'm gonna check my mic. Check. Yeah, it's working. Okay. Let's verify the microphone is set right here. It is. Well. For those that may be here, community moderator, timestamp. Whenever I go to participant, oh, there it is. Now it shows me. Okay. So that's me. So far it's just nobody but me. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why I wouldn't be hearing the audio. That's the confusing part for me. There's everything is telling me I should be. Oh, now I am. Okay. It's very quiet though. Okay, let's turn that up a bit more. Let's put this here. And let's make sure. Let me, speakers are cranked. Let's see. So let's turn that down. It's a good thing there's nobody here. I'm doing this without people around here. So we'll turn that down. So let's turn that down. Okay. It's a good thing there's nobody here. I'm doing this without people around here. What I'm not sure about, okay, is the audio in the aircraft. Let me turn that down a bit more. Sound, yes. Wait a minute. Sound. Aircraft miscellaneous. Turn that down. Cockpit sound a bit. Warning other aircraft. Let's turn them down. Environments. Let's turn that down. User interface. Let's turn that down. Music is off. Multiplayer voice is good. Okay. We will turn this down just a whisker more. Okay. So, plan is on this live stream, should anybody join and be paying attention. If not, it'll just be a video. Okay. So, plan is on this live stream, should anybody... Let me turn that off. Okay. So I had another copy of it running here, and I think that was buggering it up. Right. Okay. So here we are. The as I say, the plan here is to do a live stream of a 737 United, of course, as you see, and we are taking off from Tahoe International, going to Yuma International with a 737 MAX default aircraft. Of course, United livery. Departure time is set for 5 o'clock. I will be late on our departure time. So anybody joining will still have some time. I anticipated being late anyways. I didn't expect it to go smoothly. This is kind of one of my very first live streams that I've done. I certainly haven't done a lot of them. Because I take that back. I think I did a couple of live streams already. But anyways, this is maybe number 2, 3, or 4. I'm far from an expert at live streams, but I want to get better, and I'm hopeful that some of the community will start to see live streams and start participating. That's what the idea of this is to kind of participate. It's kind of to show off 2024, Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 as well. Do some trying to do some semi-realistic flights. Showing what happens within my sim and all that. Those that want to understand my specs and all of that, I'll try to remember to put that into the comment section later on. Ryzen 7 5800 X3D, 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, running at 3600, I think. and a RTX 4080 graphics card. That's kind of the specs. I did have my NVIDIA frame counter up, but for some reason or another, when I try to turn that on, what I get is this. Oh, now it wants to work. Well, okay, I take that all back. It wasn't working. I was only getting the word frame counter in NA. So I'll leave it there. We'll see what it is. It seems a little low, but that's okay. Let's just close all this nonsense off and see where we're at. Yeah, see, that's starting to make more sense. Now, I don't know what all of that gibberish is. I think I'll turn it off. I mean, 70 frames a second, a minute, second, whatever it is, seems realistic. But why it flickers like it does, I can't tell you. I'm going to go in here and anybody who is using the NVIDIA frame counter business, if you guys understand and or know where my problems are, I've gone and clicked on the wrong thing. Let's get rid of that. But if you understand where my problems are, please do me a solid and help me understand how to get this to set up properly. Because I very much would love to be able to, you know, have that be reliable. That's my problem is that it's not reliable. I can't reliably say, okay, I'm going to turn that on and have it function the way I'm anticipating it to function. I normally have that on that, and then I think I go here. Is that where I go? Maybe. Yes. No. 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 Anyways, yeah. Look at all that now. Look at all that nonsense. That's just craziness, is what all that is. I think I actually had it on custom at one point. Yeah, like that. That's what I had. But you see now, you see how it goes to NA. So I don't know. Go back to basic. We'll not mess around too much more with this and just shut the darn thing off. You see, it just doesn't give me frame. You know, it shows the GPU and the CPU, and that's all fantastic. It doesn't show me any of the latency now. Let me just shut that off, and let's not get too wrapped up in that anymore. This is kind of why I said, you know, we're probably going to have a bit of a late departure because I'm trying to get all this stuff figured out. Was it this I need, or is it that? Is it this I need? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And maybe anybody watching this can point out and say, hey, you know, you need to do it this way, and then it'll work. You know, I'm happy to find out which way this way is, but right now it does not work for me. But in general, I should be getting around 70-ish frames per second here on ground, and then that'll increase as we take off and that kind of stuff. Okay. Anyways, so here we are. Let's get some of the stuff taken care of. We'll get the engine covers off. We'll get the chocks removed. We'll do a little bit of a walk around the aircraft. Okay. We'll get some of these covers off. There we go. And P2 heat covers are coming off. Let me just get out of the way. Okay. And we'll come around the other side. Now, while I'm doing this, I kind of want to go over a few things. I know there's a displeasure for 2024. And those that have watched some of my videos probably understand that I'm a supporter of 2024. I'm not a blind supporter. I get it. I understand that not everything is perfect, and I'm just simply a supporter of the new sim because there's a lot of attributes about the new sim that I very much like. I like the enhanced scenery. In a lot of the world, the scenery in my mind is better / more realistic. Yes, there are a few anomalies that don't quite make sense, i.e. road traffic doesn't always follow the right side of the road where they should be, and sometimes they drive on the same road going two different directions. I get that. But in general, the scenery I find very, very nice. I find it more realistic. I find, you know, some turbulence is there. The flight dynamics, I'm not a pilot, but I find them to be, in my vision, to be more accurate. The controls are a bit of a nightmare for me. Not nightmare, that's maybe too strong, but the controls have been less than perfect, and I'm sure the rest of you can attest to that. I'm going to say that some time ago I had read an article I think it was a YouTube video. Somebody had posted to say, hey, you know, if you got problems with your Sim 2024, reinstall it. That fixes everything. I was skeptical of that because, as most of you probably realize, people have fixes for a lot of things, but not always does it fix your particular problem. But then I read a post, I believe it was on the devs forums, and I had read a post there, and I believe it was either somebody from Microsoft and or a Sobo, and it might have been also a YouTube video as well, where the person had said, listen, if you're having problems with your simulator, you may want to consider reinstalling the sim. And so then I did that. I made the decision to go ahead and do that. Now, since then, I don't seem to have some of the anomalies like I used to. For example, one of them was periodically when I would get out of the sim, you know, that view that you get when you're leaving the on ground, and it kind of pulls you back like this to the whole world. Well, mine would only pull back a certain portion of the way, about half of the way, and it'd just lock up and freeze. And so I was getting that. The other thing I was getting was the PMDG 737 was not working very well all the time. It was working, but not well. The 777 was non-existent. It would just lock up on me constantly. Now, I've since restalled. I've put the 737 back in, and it works. The 737-700, it works. But the 777 still locks up. What that's about, don't know, don't care. Today we're flying the MAX. Okay. So that's kind of some of the stuff. I am not as versed at starting Boeing as I am Airbus, but we will persevere, and we will get there. Let's get my keys figured out. No, those are the wrong keys. These are the right ones. Okay, so one of the things that I do in the overhead is I'm always mindful of the fact that I see these as multiple roles of things to be done. I'm going to try to find a key that gives me the view that I want. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll work with this. I was going to set this up, and of course I forgot. What I'm actually after is where the IRS alignment switches are, and they're right there. I believe that's them. Yeah, that's them. Okay, so we know where they are. Okay, let's get some power on the aircraft. I'm going to shut my switch panels off because my switch panels don't seem to work, which is yet another problem, and that's okay. So we got some battery. What we want to get some ground power. So we'll do that, or we'll attempt to do. Oh, do I have to do that through the flight bag? Maybe. Let's look at the flight bag and see. I don't think so. I think that's a aircraft. No. Flight planner. Blah, blah. I don't think so. I think it's just as simple as, I think the batteries are on now, but what I'm trying to do is trying to get this switch to function. Oh, there we go. So ground power is available, but it doesn't appear that it's actually functional just yet. Ah, that's what I wanted. Yeah, okay. I don't want that way. Okay. So we've got Let's get the APU started. Whoops, that's our next function, which is down here. Let's get the aft tank on. And that should start the APU, and when it becomes available, this should illuminate. I know on the PMDG, we have a gauge here. I think it's right around here that tells us, you know, that the APU is coming online, but I do believe we also have some indicator in here as well. System, no, system, engines. Yeah, I don't know where that function is. I know there is a, whoops, the wrong button. Let's go up. One of these is supposed to tell us where we are in terms of the APU. And it's starting. Or am I thinking, I might be thinking about the 777 actually. Yeah, I might be thinking about the 777, although I thought down here it did that. It doesn't matter. We're going to, what we're going to do now is now that we got battery power, we're going to go up here and we're going to turn on, oops, we're going to turn that on to nav. And that onto nav, and we're going to get those things aligned. I think you normally would put them to here first, but maybe we still got to get this done. Oh, see, APU is alive, so let's turn that on. So we should be on APU bus right now. And we can actually turn that off because we should be on the APU right now. Let me look up here. Put them to align. And then let me go down here. Oops. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the tablet now, and here we're going to do some flight planning. Oops, there it is. That was the one. So we're here. We are at KRNO, and we are going to. Oh, hello. One Aviation Simulation. Thanks for joining. We are on our way to, if you want, you can join the Discord. If it gets carried away, I'll probably limit it, but for right now, there's just you and one other fella. Anyway, so we are going to KNYL. KNYL is our destination, and let's have a look at some weather situation in here. No, is it here? I want weather here, weather. But before we do that, let's go here. Now let's look at weather. Okay, so what we got for weather is really nothing. It's not telling. Oh yeah, 5 knots. We got 5 knots of wind. Yeah. So we got 5 knots of wind. Visibility is 9 knots, or 9 nautical miles. Winds are 0 degrees. Well, from 0 degrees. It's basically no wind. Okay. So let's go back to here, and we'll use 17, right? And we'll use 30 left on our arrival. Now, for those that aren't familiar with this, when you click on this, you have the ability to look at your map, and you can kind of you know, figure out what your departure will be or your SID will be, right? So you can decide what SID you want to use. So for example, if you can use the Reno SID, and you can look at what it actually does. Now we're taking off 17, so we're taking off from down here, or no, wait a minute. Hang on, let me, we're taking off from up there. So let's look at, what does that SID show us? There. And it goes out to there, to that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So that's the SID we're going to use, so change the procedure to that. And then our arrival is 03 left. So let's look at our arrival. Is it direct to 03? Hang on, no. Let's back out of this. You know, there was this thing in here that was allowing us to do an automatic one here. Now, where did that go? Add, change your procedures. I wonder if I do this and get a bigger view of it. There was a thing here at one point that allowed you to say, no, I'm just going to do everything automatically and pick it for me. But I don't see that now. If you have an idea, give us a post and let us know what we should be doing differently. That would be appreciated. Yeah, I wonder what happened, what changed about that. I remember there was this thing in here that said, you know, pick on automatic. Our cruise altitude is going to be 35,000, so that's good. This is load flight plan. No, we don't want to load that. No, that's a bad idea. Change procedures, runway 07, add the arrival. I'm confused a little bit. Like, there's my airport. Oh, I guess. Okay, I see. Okay. We're going down here. We're coming in on 03, which is right there. And so, yes, okay. This is kind of working out famously. You see, we're going to come in like straight in there, okay? So we got that. That's working out perfect for us. Add an arrival. If we added the arrival, which is a direct, so we'll do that. Something changed. Okay, back. Why is, see, there is no arrival being selected. I want that arrival to be selected. Is that it? Isn't that weird? Let's put that in again. How do I pick that? Change, no procedures selected. It's a direct. Okay. Direct, change, okay. Well, we're going to leave it like that. We know where we're going anyways. Then we're going to follow with ATC, and we're going to send that to the avionics. If everything is working the way it's supposed to, that should then be within the avionics. Put that over here, move that like that. I see there's a line in there, so maybe that's working. Okay, so we're going to execute that. I guess the alignment is done, because that's looking, oh no, that's not right just yet. Well, we're working our way through this. Let's look at our legs. We do have legs here, so let's go to the next page. We're going to get rid of that. And we're going to go down. Okay. I'm gonna look in here, and I'm gonna my departure is 17. That is right. So my arrival is no star. Okay, and I believe we picked this, and that's going to be fine. Oh yeah, see, then that gives us that. Okay, okay, but I got two of them in there. Let me do that, and let me back out and see. Okay, see that discontinuity is now gone. Okay, that's good. Okay, now we're only going to do a direct route. I was hopeful that I was going to get a place here to automatically pick the route to go where we're going, but it doesn't select it, and that's okay. That's neither here nor there to me. In the description, if you look in the description of the stream, there is a link, or should be a link, for Discord. So anyone in the Discord, you're welcome to go ahead and log in. FYI, thank you for all that are joining. I realize this isn't much of a milestone for anybody else, but for me, I've got a few people watching the stream, and it's a milestone for me. I don't know if I've ever had anybody watching the stream, although I've done a couple of them, I think. So welcome aboard. We are taking off from Tahoe International. If you want to join the flight, we're taking off from Tahoe International. We're using live weather and live time. We're going to Yuma. We're flying a 737 MAX, the Asobo version. I'm just in the midst of setting up. Our departing runway will be 17 left. I say that questioningly because I don't know if I can remember it. 17 right, and our arrival is 3 left. So yeah, if you're here watching and want to join, you've got time to jump in the sim and get yourself going. Okay, where are we next? What's our next deal? Well, our next deal is getting rid of that, whatchamacallit. Let's go up and look at the overhead. Bear with me, my buttons. I'm more used to 2020, and as such, I find myself having to click through buttons several times just to get the right button that I'm looking for. Okay, so we've got APUs running, and we are on the APU power. We've disconnected the ground power, and we could do pushback and get ready to taxi. I'm going to wait a little longer should some of you decide to come and join. So I will wait a little longer before I begin pushback. Any of those that have comments go ahead and put them in the chat, and or join Discord, and we can communicate via Discord just the same. As I said before, if there gets to be too much chitter chatter in Discord, I might limit some of the chitter chatter, and we'll just rely on commenting. I want to give everybody an opportunity to voice their opinions, thoughts, and so forth. But disruptions won't be tolerated. I won't allow it to be disruptive. Anybody who knows me, I'm a pretty calm and relaxed kind of a guy, and I like to keep things that way. So I think I'm going to begin pushback, and I'll wait for a while over at the runway 17 left before I take off. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Let's what? What are we doing? What are we doing? I am a little out of sorts. I got that set. We'll have to put our APU on. Packs are off. Isolation is open. and we are ready for start. We will request a pushback. Now, I don't know how to do that in here. Oh, you know what? I'll bet you I can do that through the flight bag. Somewheres, I'm pretty sure I saw aircraft flight planning, maybe? No. Well, if anybody knows how to do a pushback in here, give it where are we? Over there, somewheres. Where am I? Oh, yeah, I'm pointing away at my camera, but I'm delayed here. So that's why you're going to see some goofy pointing around with my camera here right away. Okay. Log hours, no. Tablet, something in here about pushback. Flight planner, no. Open settings, no. No. Something in here about pushback. We're departing left. There's some charts that we can kind of look at. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back here. There's somebody taking off right there. I'm assuming he's taking off. So I'm there, and we want to go there and taxi across and get up to there. That's where we're gonna go, and that's okay. Okay. I know I'm saying okay a million times. I'm trying not to, but I'm also trying to make sure I know what I'm doing. Now, I can't get the pushback. Why? Where's the pushback business? Is it this dude? No, that's controllers. Where is? I thought we had a pushback utility in here. We don't. Well, we're gonna. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say, what are we gonna do a million times? Fuel. I guess I really didn't plan fuel out either. Taxi fuel. Trip fuel. That's contingency. That's not right. Why would it be 6 pounds? That just seems bizarre. I got myself a total trip fuel of 112 pounds, including tanker. How do I get myself more fuel? Well, I want 20,000 pounds of fuel is what I want. Okay. I'd like it to find a way to have a pushback, but that doesn't seem to be in the cards for us. Anybody knowing how to do pushback in this thing, that would be wonderful, because I apparently don't know. I see the tug is there. Is it like the PMDG where you got something down in here? Weights and balance. Nope. Well, I just don't know how I'm going to start. I need to do a pushback. Andrew, you can call ground and request ground services. Is pushback a choice there? No, Andrew, it doesn't seem to be. There doesn't seem to be a choice. Like in 2020, you've got the submenu up here, where you could pick on ATC and do a pushback, but I don't see that submenu here, so that I can do a pushback. The other thing is, I know in the 777 and the PMDG, both PMDGs, you can go in here and you can do a pushback through here too. But recall aircraft, I don't have that here. Press Alt P. All right, Matthew. Thank you. Let's do that. Alt P. What does that do? I've taken the covers off. I've done all that. Alt P is not necessarily working for me. Maybe that's because I didn't do Alt P. I did Control P. All right, let's do Alt P. Ah, there he comes. Isn't that spectacular? Okay. Let's get the brakes off. So we'll let it just push straight back, and then we're going to taxi up to 17 left. So that's where I am right now, and we're gonna taxi up into here. I don't know if that comes across like it's supposed to, but I hope it does. Have I not removed my brakes? Yeah, I have. Have I not removed all of the chocks? I have. Yeah. So I don't know what this jazz is all about. Matthew, steering. How do I get the thing to push it straight back? Because it's doing some funky, weird turning business. You know what? We're going to let it do what it needs to do, I guess. I don't get this, but that's okay. How do I guess I'm assuming I do Control or Alt P to stop. We're going to stop that. We're just going to do a start here. Packs are on. For those that are looking at how I'm toggling all the buttons, you know, I'm probably not doing it. As I've said many times before, I am not a pilot. I know what I know because that's what I know, and I don't know any more than that. Let us start that one. N2 is coming up, and we're coming up. Bug, yeah, I think Matthew, I think you're right. I think something isn't right there. Now, I will caution in the fact that I don't know a lot about the systems. Like I knew more about them in 2020. 2024 is still somewhat of a mystery. I've been so reliant on this overhead menu up here to allow me to get ATC if I want, and or third-party add-ons for pushback. I've used that quite a bit. We're gonna get one good engine here right away, I think. I think. Yeah. Okay. So we are set there. Let's put this and let's fire up that one engine now. And 2 should be climbing. It is. And 2 is climbing, and 1 is climbing. We'll let that run up a bit. Let's get that on. Okay, let's get some fuel going. Should really have the brakes on. And we're just about there. Flight directors are on. Flaps are going to go to 5. That's 10, not 5. Let's move that over. Okay. We'll just run to the. I'll just run through the FMC just ever so slightly, just to make sure I've got set up right here. So our cruise altitude has not been set. A 0 field weight is there. Reserve is 10. Cost index is 35. Our cruise altitude is 35,000. Winds I won't set. Flaps are 5. V speeds are now set. Legs, and we're ready. So I'm gonna start the taxi out to runway 17 left. Brakes off. I realize this is a bit of an unorthodox taxi out for those that are just joining now, wondering what I'm doing. The reality is I was trying to use the pushback, and Matthew was so kind to tell me Alt P was a function that worked, but it just did some weird stuff. So we're here getting ready to taxi out. As I said before, those that are interested in joining, we are at Tahoe International, KRNO, and we are going to go to runway 17, and we're going to hold short and pause for a moment before we take off. We're on our way to Yuma International, KNYL. I think I need to set this to continuous. I think I need to turn that generator on. I think I need to turn the APU off. And we're off like a herd of turtles. As I mentioned before, and I'll repeat myself a few times because I see there's people coming and going. My specs: Ryzen 7 5800 X3D, 32 gigs of DDR4, 3600 Hz memory, and I got a 4080 RTX 4080 graphics card. I typically get like these smaller not regional, but these smaller airports. I'll get summers in the high 70s to 100s in terms of frame rate. I don't care about frame rates as much. I'm happy to have 30, 40 frames. What I care about is smoothness. In general, what I'm getting out of 2020, I just flew a little bit yesterday with a flight group of mine, and I was getting stutters in 2020. In 2024, I almost never get a stutter. It is almost always perfectly smooth, even though sometimes the frame rates, like at LAX and London, Heathrow, I should say, these airports sometimes take a bit of a crunch on the frame rates. It still gets smooth. It's still smooth. You know, it's the scenery is pretty good. For my old eyes, it's pretty good. Maybe for a young girl's eyes, maybe not so much. But for my old eyes, scenery is good. Why I fly 2024? I think the scenery is better. I think the aerodynamics are better. Are there bugs? Yep, there are. i.e. pushback. I do think that a lot of times when we perceive bugs, there are times where it becomes user error. And I don't know, for at least from my perspective, that's more often the case. It's more often the case that when thinking something isn't working right, it's because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm fully willing to admit the fact that a lot of times I don't know what I'm doing. Let's get our speed set here. I think we'll hold short right here for a bit. There isn't a lot of aircraft flying around in the world. So that brings me to the next thing about 2024, which for myself personally, I think is probably at least the biggest detriment for me. And that is activity. There just is nobody here. And in 2020, I can guarantee you there's going to be people at this airport. But there's nobody here. I am completely by myself. If somebody indeed is here or on their way into the sim, please make a comment in the text chat there to let me know that you're intending to be here or you are here, and maybe there's a configurational change that I don't have set right. But as I was saying before, the biggest issue that I have is that, you know, the level of aircraft in the sim, from a multiplayer perspective, there's just very few aircraft in the sim. You go to LAX, I was there yesterday with a friend of mine, and we're flying around, and I think there was 3 people at LAX, which is really, really, really weird. It's extremely weird. One thing quickly before I go further. How's the audio? Can somebody make a comment in the comment section whether or not the audio is good? Can you hear me? Is it too loud? Is the engine in the aircraft sounds too loud? If somebody could comment there in the comment section to let me know that I'm good or bad or whatever. But I know people can hear me because they've responded. Anyways, yeah, so I wish that more of the community would start to shift over. That's just my personal view and opinion on it, but I wish more of the community would start to shift over. I understand why they're not, because a good deal of the community is frustrated with the launch, with the bugs, with the issues that 2024 has. I will say, and you'll hear me say this a million times over probably, and I hate to repeat myself, but in general, a lot of the bugs that the simulation world is up against, I just haven't seen those. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have some. I just haven't seen them. They just haven't been a prevalent thing for me, where you see it, you know, tons and tons of issues. I haven't seen it. I have some. Just I don't have, you know, problems. Or the other thing is maybe I don't, you know, I'm not so worried about things as much as some other people might be. That's not to say that 2020 shouldn't get this shit right, because they should. Pardon the French, but they should get it right. I'm not giving them a pass in the fact of saying, you know, you guys have a pass because you put up this product too soon. That's not what I'm doing. I don't feel that they deserve a pass. Let's have a look here and see if anybody's here. If not, which I see nobody, I'm gonna start lining up and getting ready for departure. Okay, 17 left. Whoop. What have I got wrong here? Shouldn't have anything wrong that I know of. Let's get going. And give ourselves a little bit of higher view. So we'll cross 17 right. And we'll line up on 17 left and get ready for departure. They put this screw as a toga. No, okay. That was in 2020. They had that. Those that are flying the 737 PMDG, they made that screw the toga. Look there, nobody. I mean, I know there's nobody because there's nobody. Oh, did I see somebody there? I think I might have seen somebody there. One moment. No, that was that. Okay. So, onto the runway we go. Near as I can figure, I'm set up correctly, and we're ready to go. We got about a 400-mile run to get ourselves to Yuma. So an hour and change will be the flight. And we'll talk more about other things, I'm sure. Get ourselves set up here. Let's just have a look and see if we can find a toga. I mean, that's supposed to be the toga right there, so we won't have that. That's okay. All right, let's experience what a takeoff in the 737 MAX in 2024 is like. Again, I'm not an experienced pilot. I'm not a pilot, period. But I do a fair amount of simming. So let's go see what we get. Why do I get that warning? What have I not got set that I'm supposed to have set? Oh. Let's get our packs turned back on. Set that to auto. Let's get our APU off. Let's. This should be set to auto, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. The climb or the pressurization. Fasten. Let's put that on. I got no warning lights. No. I do have my yaw dampers not on. Let's get that on. Okay. Here we go. I keep on getting this. What does that indicator tell me? Takeoff configuration has not been set. Well, all that are watching this, what have I got wrong? I got flaps. Brakes are off. Anti-skid. I don't think I need that set, but maybe. Armed. Flaps are set for 5. We're gonna just let her rip here regardless, because that's what we're gonna do. I wonder what I'm missing here. Well, I better figure it out, because I'm not going to listen to that incessant beeping. Route is planned. Departure has been set. I really should be setting that, but I'm not going to. Something changed in here. Center of gravity wasn't set. There we go. Oh, I didn't set my trim. That was another thing that I missed. Look at my trim. Negative 40. Let's get that set. What did it say? 4? Not. Let's see if that was what our problem was. Not entirely, but we are going to let her rip regardless. Yeah, this is brutal. But we're in the air. Gear up. What the heck happened there? I see. That is my switch panel. I wasn't going to use them, and it was set to off. So as soon as I took off, I think that's what my problem was. Those switches weren't turned on. I think that was what the problem was. Okay, doesn't matter. We're in the air. We're gonna let the power all come together, and we'll let it do what it's got to do and reestablish itself. We do have that set. So, what would happen if we were to turn the autopilot on? Would it do what it's supposed to do, ish? Well, we don't want you to dive down. We'd like you to climb if you could. That would be spectacular. There we go. Here we go. What do we got here? Trim wheel in the green. Yeah, Matt, I think I did have it in the green in the end. But as I said before, I think my biggest problem was, so I have these, I have a radio stack, a switch panel, and a autopilot panel, and I had those switch panels. I had all the lights turned off, even though I went in the sim and I turned everything on like it was supposed to. But for some reason or other, when I took off, it just dark. You saw it go dark, and I got a feeling the sim recognized that those switches weren't turned on. I'm hopeful that that's what it was. And I did not check the trim wheel to see that it was in the green. So, yeah, that's something I should have done, I guess. But it did say trim 4, and I was at trim 4 before I pushed forward the final time. The Max is a beautiful airplane, but also the problem child of the 737. Well, yes, Alexander, you are mostly correct in that statement. You watch some of the most recent videos, even recent, but you watch a lot of the videos out there today, and you're right. That's 737. Boeing in general, they've in my mind, they've got some problems that they need to find around. The 777. I believe its first iteration was out in 91, 2, 3 in that area, and they came out with this great 777 X edition, and it's just stuck in limbo because they just can't seem to get it moving forward. The aircraft that were some of the flagships for Boeing are going by the wayside. And in favor for other aircraft, but Boeing seems to be having problems with those too. So I don't know. The grounding of the 777, the Max and all that a few years back, that was not good for them. That was far from good for them, to be honest with you. I dare say that also. I would imagine some of these bigger aircraft manufacturers, like the two primary ones, Airbus and Boeing, they've got their own sources of problems. And we hear a lot about Boeing because, North American, U.S. made in North America as a whole. I think we hear more of it, but I'm guessing Airbus has got its own sets of problems just the same. Doesn't give a lot of confidence for the flying public. I'll say that much. I don't know if the flying public have got a lot of confidence. Happen to be one of those flying publics, and I don't know. I'm wary about getting on a 737 Max. Any of you guys concerned about flying? Are you flying people? Would you get on a 737? Would you be indifferent to it? And for those people that are watching this, that heard the beep 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 sound, I'm very aware that beep beep sound means I'm not fully configured. I haven't been flying an awful lot in the last little while. I haven't been feeling well. I've had this really, really bad cold / pneumonia for about a month now, and it feels like I'm coming out on the other side of that now. And so I just haven't been flying a lot. And I don't fly a lot of Boeing to begin with. My primary aircrafts that I fly a lot of Airbus. I really like flying the A310. I really enjoy that aircraft a lot. But that's not to say that I wouldn't blunder and make mistakes just the same. Yeah, Alexander, 100%. I feel the same way. I mean, if I've got to fly somewheres and I'm controlling the booking, and I'm looking, I can decide to fly some other aircraft. I'll probably pick the other aircraft if I can. But still, if I got to fly somewheres, I probably would fly the 737 MAX, just because if that's the aircraft that is the aircraft that's going where I want it to go, I guess I probably would fly it. Oh, Andrew, you can call. I'm sorry, Andrew, if you're still there. Can you call ground and request ground services? Just push back a choice from there. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a way to do ground services. Maybe there is in here. I just haven't seen it. I don't know where it is, but it's possible that there is a way to do that. I just don't know how. But here we are. We're just blasting along in our climb. It's weird that we're not climbing at a higher rate of climb, or is that just me that finds that weird? Have I got something not set right? Autopilot's in. That's been set. Because normally this thing should be climbing considerably more than 400 feet a minute. Oh, unless there's flight restrictions. That's a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility I hadn't considered. We're on our way to CAZZA. Uh-oh. What's happened now? That was more than bizarre. Now we're climbing at 7,000 feet a minute. Let me, yeah, I don't know if anybody saw that, but if you did, why? We were just blasting along as happy as we can be. So my flaps out. Noob. That's a noob move right there. For those that are watching, I promise I will get better with these live streams. What happened to the speed? Like, why am I only 200 knots? I mean, we're climbing the speed. I guess we're descending. I'm going to get myself turned around here and get myself lined up with the magenta line yet again. And we're going to re-initialize the autopilot and see if it's going to work. Yeah, Matthew, I saw that my one stage of flaps was still extended, and that was probably a reduction on the altitude. Why did it? Any thoughts as to why it went crazy like that? Yeah. I just now I saw that I had autopilot A and B engaged, and I disarmed autopilot B because that I'm aware of. I don't need to have both autopilots engaged, right? We'll let it come in line with the magenta here, but not at 9,000 feet a minute. We'll stabilize that a little bit, shall we? We'll turn on the autopilot. And hopefully it will turn itself back to the magenta line and follow the magenta line and carry on. A friend of mine, he flies the P&DG in 2020 a fair bit, and he discovered while he's flying, every now and again, his I think it's his VNAV disconnects. One of the two disconnect on him. And for months now, he's been going on about, he just doesn't understand why it's not working. He's complaining, the sim is broken. Excuse me, and this is in 2020. And I kept saying to him, like, it feels like you're doing something that's toggling and disengaging it. And to his point, no, that hasn't changed anything. Well, it turns out that he had a button assigned, one of his buttons that he uses for some other assignment. He had a button assigned that was also set to disengage the autopilot. Come to think of it, I think that's what his problem is. His autopilot disengages or something. Anyways, it does some weird stuff. And he says to me, he says, I just don't understand why it's not working. And so that kind of leads me to the same thing. Often we and I'm just as guilty of this as the next. We do things and we want to blame the aircraft for example, this, falling out of the sky, turning abruptly to one direction. That might have been me because I did something. For example, we still have that, we still had that beep, 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 beep sound when I took off. The aircraft was not fully configured. I did miss something. There's no doubt about that. What? Don't know. And then, of course, as Matthew pointed out, my flaps. I didn't have my flaps all the way up, right? And so the list continues on. If you make these mistakes and expect the thing to work perfectly, it's not going to. My guess is the vast majority of the problem that I had is pilot error. That's my guess. It's a pilot error thing. So we should be at top of climb at this point, but we're not because I dilly-dallied and didn't bring up the flaps like I should have. Looks very barren down there. Is that... I need to change that sound. My sound is far too high on the outside of the aircraft. Where is that? Multiplayer voice. Master volume, aircraft engines, aircraft miscellaneous. Let's turn that down. Cockpit, let's turn, we'll leave warnings up. Other aircraft, let's just turn this down there. It just seems very loud. If anybody can tell me whether or not it's loud on your end as well, that would be great. What I wanted to do is I wanted to look. I guess we're pretty high up, and this is kind of not as green as I would have thought it would be. Okay, probably right. $24,000 feet. Should probably have this on standard already. And why isn't that clicking now? What am I doing wrong here? Isn't this a regular push button? Are we turning for a reason? See that? Why are we turning? It's just on its own. That's weird. That's just bizarre. We're climbing is fine, but why did it just all of a sudden decide to turn? Because I pushed this button? just want to see, am I actually actively changing anything by doing this? I guess I am, right? Yeah, I am. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, you're supposed to push that button in, and that's supposed to put you on standard, but it's not. Yeah. Well, inches. Yeah. See, that's functioning. You can see it go standard and metric. That's functioning, but I can't push on that button. And no, in 2020 you just push that button and it does it. But I guess the bigger picture, the bigger thing here we got to figure out is why in the world does this aircraft all of a sudden just start turning left? It seems to be functioning, again, it seems to be functioning fine, but all of a sudden out of the blue it'll just bank over left. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I think what I'll need to do is I'll need to fly the thing a few more times, just to try to get more familiar with the thing, because I'm obviously not adversed with this aircraft as I should be. Let's have a look here and see if we can't log out here. There's our top of climb, expected top of climb there now. No, I take that back. My top of climb is not here because I should set that there. So yeah, no, I'm still on target for my top of climb. Okay, it's good. Right click the standard button. 2024 took me hours just to figure the changes from 20. Yeah, Matt, you are spot on. There's a number of weird differences that they did from 2020 to 2024. Like even the moving around in the cockpit. So in 2020, you use the little arrow keys beside the number pad, not the number pad keys, but beside the number pad, allowing you to kind of transition back and forth, up and down, and that kind of stuff. Now they got them on your shift keys, and they want you to use Q, W, E, A as D, which is okay. It's just, why would they not have, made it the same? Like, it just, to me, it makes no sense. Why would you change that? We're all used to it the way it was, right? Anyways, right-click standard button. Right-click. I thought I had tried that. Right-click standard button. Right-click. Nope. That's the right-click. Still showing here. Not in standard. Before I thought it was left click, but neither left nor right actually do anything. Unless there's some issue with the MAX. Have you, Matthew, have you flown the MAX in 2020? 2024, that is? Look at this here again. I'll move back here, here, participants. Well, it knock on wood, it seems to be holding the magenta line. But we'll be keeping an eye on this all the way through, because I'm not confident that it's not going to do it again. It's done that to me now 2, maybe 3 times, where it's just took off to the left. And it's not like the autopilot has disengaged or LNAV or VNAV have disengaged. None of that's taken place. Once then went back to 2020 PMDG series. So you're not flying the 2024 anymore. You're back in 2020, or am I misunderstanding that? I do think that to what people are looking at 2020, and I do think that 2020 is more. I mean, it's a more seasoned sim, without a doubt, right? I mean, been around for 4-ish years, and so that being the case, it's obviously gone through these growing pains of 2024, and I'm sure. Those that can remember or reflect on what 2020 was back in the day, we were pretty frustrated with that just the same. I mean, I know I was. I remember 2020 coming out and thinking to myself, holy smokes, this is terrible. Quickly realizing that it's not all 2020, but I wanted to blame 2020 for my inadequacies and so forth. And some was 2020. I had X-Plane installed. I had FSX still installed. I had Prepared 3D still installed. Although I stopped flying Prepared 3D, I didn't fly it a lot. I didn't care for it much. But X-Plane I did fly a lot. X-Plane 11, that is. And I also flew FSX a great deal leading into X-Plane. And so I finally made the decision, trying to get 2020 to work and how uniquely different it was. And I wanted to take advantage of the scenery, because the scenery in my mind was phenomenal. It was nothing like we had ever had before, right? So I thought it was just spectacular. And so I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to give Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 a good, fair shot. And so what I did was I uninstalled Prepare 3D because I wasn't going to fly it anymore. I uninstalled X-Plane and I uninstalled FSX, my backup sims. When I got too frustrated with 2020, I would just go to those. And now I was forced to fly Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, and I was forced to learn it. And it didn't take me long, and all of a sudden, I felt pretty comfortable with it, Up until then, I was very uncomfortable because every time it wouldn't work properly, every time I couldn't figure out something, I just shut it down. So now, why am I getting this master caution? Anyways, I would just shut it down, and I would go and fly X-Plane reliably, and away we would go, right? So then, now I look at 2024, and I still have 2020 installed, and I find, or at least I feel like it's kind of the same scenario. I need to give 2024 a good college try, a good effort. I need to put everything into it fly it, work out the bugs, learn all the new stuff, and then make a decision whether it's junk or whether it's not junk. I haven't uninstalled 2020, but climb. Well, I'm at 35,000 feet. That's where I'm supposed to be, is at 35,000 feet. And it's holding 35,000, and it's holding the magenta, so I shouldn't have to climb. Or are you saying that it wants me to climb more? Let me, where am I at here? I'm still 300 miles away from there. That's weird. Look at that. 4,000 above. Let me step through my flight plan here. I wonder if I got some issues with my flight plan. I think I might have some issues with the flight plan. Don't know what this magenta line here is all about. I'm going to do a little bit of looking here at Plan G and just kind of try to understand where I'm at here. Active, we are coming in. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'll do it over here in the event that you can see it. Was it 3? What was it? 3 left, 3 right? I don't remember now. Let me get down to the bottom here. 3 left. Yeah, 3 left. That's where I'm going. Okay. Well, let me pull that up. Pull that up again. 3 right. Okay, let's go 3 right. We got no approaches for 3 right. Okay. Let's CAZZI. Add to waypoint, yeah. And then what was the next one? BAZ. Not BA, BZA. Probably this one. Yeah, it'll be that one. Let's add that one in. I'm just going to rebuild a flight plan here on a little nav map so I can look at it and compare it to what I actually have. Whoops, put that in the wrong spot, didn't I? Let's move you up. Wigs. Did it again, didn't I? Okay, so let's rugs and jib. Okay. And JUDAP. All right. So that's what the flight plan looks like. Should look like. Okay. Yeah, we're going to just circle around the runway, the airport. Yeah, okay. That's the flight plan that I have in place. And so, I don't know why I got that. Why would I have that hold? But it doesn't matter. It don't matter because I got this right. I'm going there, 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 and I'm going to circle around the airport. And if I look at that over there, and I toggle that a little closer to the airport. Did I? There. And then we zoom that back in. Yeah. See, it kind of comes in around like this, and it's going in the way it's supposed to. Okay. So we're confident about our flight plan. Good enough. And I mean, so far, it's been holding. The magenta line. It's been doing that decently. So now, one thing I've noticed, there is no top of descent, which is kind of odd, isn't it? I should be seeing a top of descent here. But I don't. Let's go see what it looks like for top of descent where we are. Now, it doesn't give me top of descent until, you know, for quite a while yet. So I guess we'll leave it. I flew the 737 MAX once on 2024. There's nothing like preparing the cockpit for flight, doing the flight plan, and weights and balances, and flying it into the mountain on climbing out because the plane won't work. Yeah, you know what, Matthew, you've hit the nail right on the head. I have not prepared this aircraft anywhere near like I should have, because I didn't. What I should have done is I should have spent more time, like you say, getting weights and balances, getting all the procedures down right, and maybe even start using a checklist. I haven't used a checklist much because I just haven't, but I should be using a checklist because I'm not anywhere near as versed as some of you guys are in terms of what to do and how to do. That's because that's your missed approach hold. So the missed approach hold wants me to go back to, okay, yep, that makes sense, totally, yep. Yeah, I think often I've seen, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Now I can see it. Okay, so we'll not worry about that. We'll carry on. Geez, I'm learning a great deal from you, Matthew. I appreciate your in the channel here. It's definitely showing me a bunch of misgivings that I have, or bad parts of piloting on my part. I mean, I do know that getting the aircraft set up properly and preparing and you know, making sure that your flight plan is in there right, and making sure the weights and balances are right, and making sure all those checks and balances are done right. And I've made a blunder of mistakes here along the way. I'll be doing more live streams similar to this, and I'll be doing more. One of the reasons why I did this stream, just for you guys, for you that you understand that are watching, one of the reasons why I did the stream was two primary reasons. A, I don't have a lot of experience flying the 737 MAX, and I wanted to show a lot of the mistakes that I'm making so that you guys can see that the aircraft is not behaving properly. But mostly it's not behaving properly, and I think that's what Matthew is pointing out. It's mostly not behaving properly because I have not done my due diligence in preparation. That's number one. That's the one reason why I wanted to do this. And the other thing is I wanted to kind of showcase the aircraft and, you know, and its flying and the scenery and all that kind of stuff to see. Just so you know, Matthew, I do fly in VATSIM. You wouldn't know it, but keep in mind, as I said many times, Boeing is not the aircraft that I fly. I fly Airbus. And in Airbus, I feel very fluid, and I do fly on the VATSIM network. I don't fly as frequent as some people would, but I've got I've got a number of hours. I think I got about 1,000 hours on VATSIM or something in that area. Um, and I do enjoy flying the VATSIM network. I find it sometimes it's gotten better, but I do find it sometimes where the controllers are not as friendly as they could be, or not as helpful as they could be. I know they've gotten better with that over the last little while, and I do appreciate that because they have gotten better. But I think they could be more helpful for us rookie pilots and us rookie VATSIM guys. I think you'd find there's more people flying on VATSIM. But I do fly on it, and have for years. You wouldn't know it, like I say. The Boeing aircrafts are not, like I said before, they're just not my go-to aircraft. I fly a lot of Airbus, A320, the fly-by-wire A320. I fly that one a reasonable amount. The A310, I fly it a lot. I've done some flights in the A321 in 2024. I do fly. I back on over on 2020. I fly the 777 a reasonable amount. I do like the aircraft a lot, so I have flown that one a fair bit. But I've also taken a bit of a hiatus from flying, like I say, for the last month or so. I've had ammonia and this horrible bad cold, and I just have not felt like sitting here flying. My YouTube channel is taking the brunt of that because I haven't released a lot of videos in the last little while. But I am starting to feel better, and I'll be doing more content. I'll be flying more of these aircraft in 2024. I'll get more familiar with them. They'll be more, it'll become more second nature for flying. Another thing that I noticed that in flying in the stream, I found myself a little distracted from my normal process of how I'm going to set things up. And I think that too has played somewhat of a factor in it. I'm not using that as an excuse. I just think that's played a factor. I don't do a lot of streams. I don't do a lot of live streams. When I'm flying from A to B, I'm normally, I'm not talking a lot. I'm not trying to entertain. I'm not trying to, explain what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going through the steps and processes. I typically go over the overhead, from the top, left side down, and then I just kind of go down like that. I have a set process in terms of getting the FMC set up and that kind of stuff. And I got a little distracted by stream, but I will get better with it, I'm sure. How many hours have you got on VATSIM, Matthew? Like, have you been flying it for years, kind of a thing, or? Wonder why there's no top of descent. That's the other thing that I'm kind of stranged out about, because normally when you're flying like the PMDG series of aircraft, they'll show you a nice top of descent there, and well, wait a minute, there is a top of descent. It's right there. That close to the airport? Well, my range is 320, so maybe, yeah, there is a top of descent. Okay, take it back. Okay, well, I'm less worried about that now. I was a little worried about the whole top of descent business that wasn't there, but it is. I can see it. just going to turn my back here for a second. I got to blow my nose. I don't think anybody wants to see that. Okay, ready to go again. So I think we are, well, we're getting after it, that's for sure. Looks like we're about 100 miles atop of descent now, something like that in that area. And the aircraft losing its autopilot, that seems to have straightened itself out a little bit. We're not getting too much of that anymore, so that part's good. Yeah. I wonder why. Well, I guess that's fuel. So I'm drawing out of the center tank. I got a lot of fuel on board. 17,000 pounds still. See, and that's another thing too that ordinarily I would plan out my flight in sim brief. So I'd have my fuel block, I'd have my winds, I'd have all that set up, and I'd put that all into the aircraft. I didn't do that, and I didn't do that purposely. I purposely wanted to leave that out because I wanted to see, could I go into the sim, plan a flight out, and then execute that into the FMC and everything else like that. What I should have done is I should have picked 2 other airports, because it looks like the SIDS and the stars and that kind of stuff for Tahoe and Yuma are not. There isn't as many to pick from as normally what there would be. Well, just wait until you try to land. You think landing is going to be the problem? We'll see. We'll see. You'll see the whole thing, those that are watching, but you'll see the whole thing. I don't plan. My takeoff was horrendous. Those that were there when I did take off, it was terrible. But you know, usually my usually my takeoffs aren't horrendous either. But usually my landings aren't horrible. My intentions are to come in, and let's look at some of the charts if we can. No. Yeah. 3 right. That's interesting. There's a chart for 3 left, but not for 3 right. Huh, that's weird. It's an RNAV. But we can use this as kind of a guideline for ourselves. 1,200 feet. What is the runway or airport elevation? 213 feet. Okay, it's no worries. This is something too that that I typically spend a fair amount of time in preparing. I'm supposed to be coming in on 03 right. Let's have a look at that again to make sure I've got that right. No, left. Okay, so I am coming on 3 left. Oh, very good. Very good. Okay. So back to the charts. Approach 3 left. There we got a RNAV approach. Right. So we're coming just as we talked about, as we showed earlier. So we're coming in this way. We're going to go around the airport and we're going to come in. Now the runway is what? No. Runways. 3 left, 3 right, and 3 left. Why does it say? Why does it do that? Where's 3? Okay, there's 3 left. Elevation 188 feet. 4,000 meters. Yeah, that's a lot of runway to land on, so I shouldn't have any problems. 13,000 feet, so yeah, I shouldn't have any problems. Matthew, you'll be the witness, but I don't anticipate landing being too terribly difficult. Presuming that I don't get distracted, and that I actually, configure myself for landing like I'm supposed to. If I do get distracted, well, then all bets are off, and it'll be hysterical. I think we're getting, we're inside of 80 nautical miles to top of descent there, we can see. So we're inside of the 80 mile. And if I got this right, I should go look at that chart one more time just to, what am I doing? What am I doing there? There, 3, there's the chart. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger just so maybe the rest of you can see it just the same. Okay, so we're going to come here. We need to be above 4,000. And then we're going to circle the airport. We're going to circle the airport above 3,000. Our final approach is going to be 1,200. Expect radar vectors to rug. We're not going to radar vector to nothing. We've eliminated that discontinuity that was there. We've eliminated that, so we've taken that out of the equation. Yeah. So 3,000, above 3,000 here. Okay. Yep. We'll find out if it's going to be disastrous. I'm hopeful that it won't be, but I won't make promises that it won't be either. This flight has been somewhat disastrous all the way through, but we're getting after it. Let's zoom in our radius that we're out here. So we're 40 miles out. So typically what I do in this environment, when I'm flying the Boeing, the Airbus is slightly different because it doesn't automatically trip your descend. But typically what I'll do is I'll go to the altitude here, and I'll just bring that down. I know that my final approach altitude is 1,200 feet, but I'm going to bring it down to 3,000. And at least the PMDG in 2020, when you do this, it will adhere to the FMC's flight altitude restrictions, both speed and altitude, and it'll just manage most of the descent down to the airport for you. So this is what I would normally do. Matthew, if you feel that's an error, or maybe you want to describe how you handle this, but typically that's what I'll do. As we get closer, I'll bring this down to, somewhere where I know it's going to be, 3,000 feet off the ground, and that was I think two points before we get onto the runway. The final one was JUDAP. And that's mostly lined up short arrival, or short arrival into the runway. I think WIGS is where we want to be, 3,000 and or above. So I'll set it to 3,000. I guess technically what I should do is They're calling for above 3,000, so let me put it to 3,100. And ordinarily in 2020, those that are watching and who have done this trick, ordinarily in 2020, when the aircraft comes around top of descent, it should throttle back, and it should begin its descent down. We should have this little. I need to get rid of that. I need to find out how to do that. How do I do that again? So I'd like to have a bigger screen here. I don't care to see the engines here. I think that's done here. Yeah, there we go. That's what I like right there. Okay. Yeah. So it looks like we're about 30 miles from top of descent before we start heading our way downward. And like I say, ordinarily what would happen is it should, as you cross the top of descent, it should pull throttle back, and then it should start nosing down at a reasonable trajectory. And I believe there should be a graphic here somewhere that indicates, you know, are you on the right trajectory on the way down to get to, you know, where you need to be. I don't know if the Max does that. I did get the, in 2020, I bought the Brody something, I think it's called Brody something 737 Max for $20. I was unfortunately very disappointed. It just was not a very good aircraft, and he promised all kinds of updates, at least up until the point I decided to remove it completely. There was no reasonably good updates that he had provided, and I finally gave up on it and said, you know what, I'm not going to play that game with that aircraft anymore, and so I didn't. Yeah. Soon the fun is going to be beginning. Got a lot of fuel stuff still. I think I put 20,000 pounds in, and obviously 20,000 pounds. And again, had I gone to SimBrief and planned this out, it probably would have told me I needed considerably less fuel than that. Why does that say? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's look at SimBrief. Games. Where is SimBrief? Huh? Oh, right there. SimBrief. I'm going to build a plan in SimBrief now, like I should have in the first place. New flight plan. Let's 737 Max. 737. Well, there is no Max here. Why am I not seeing a Max? Oh, there's the Max. Okay. We are flying from KRNO to KNYL. Pounds, yeah, that's good. Let's just see what it generates to. So we're getting ready for top of descent. We're about to see some of the crazy take place. Yeah, see, I put 20,000 pounds. It says en route burn is 5,900 pounds. Fuel block should be 12,000. So I had like 8,000 pounds of fuel more than what I should. But I'm fine with landing with that. That doesn't matter to me. I'm not worried about that. Let me pull this back up. Continue watching this. Okay, so we should be beginning our descent, and there's the little graphic that I was expecting to see, but we haven't descended yet. Isn't that interesting? Have we throttled back? We haven't even throttled back. Okay, so what have I done wrong there? Is the auto throttle not turned on? That would be disappointing if that was the case. It is. Now it's throttling back. Yeah, something wasn't set right there, because when I pulled the throttle back, it let me pull the throttle back, and I shouldn't be allowed to do that. But anyways, it's pulling it back. Now we are expecting for some drag because we're 3,000 feet too high. So we're starting off on the wrong side of things right off the hop. Are we getting after it? We are. I'm gonna pull a little more speed brake out. But we're 3,000 feet too high. So we're gonna continue to work our way down. Matthew, you might very well be right. The landing might be interesting. We haven't started off great. Shoot. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's okay. Maybe I can get around this. I have very often had these issues where things have gone a little awry, and I've been able to kind of corral it back in. I am getting it better. I mean, it's still 2,000 feet too high, but I'm getting after it. So we're gonna use. My guess is I'm going to use auto brake 2. We got a long runway, some 13,000 feet. So we got lots of runway. So like I say, I'll use auto brake 2. I won't use full reverse, but we won't use idle reverse either. And assuming we get lined up and it doesn't do what it's done a few times already, and that's to get off the magenta line. One moment. Wife is letting me know dinner is ready, but we still got flying to do. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is we will one thing I haven't done is set. I haven't set a controller for that, have I? I have. Doesn't work well, but I have. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. Are we getting after it? I think what we'll do is we'll get that speed brake out just a bit more. Yeah, I think we'll keep that speed brake out. Yeah, we're just not. Throttles are right back, so we'll a little more out. It's getting further and further out of control. You know, one thing I just discovered. I may actually be out because I'm kind of heading directly for the airport. Remember, I got to go to the airport, and then I got to fly around the airport and come in. So that's something to be thought about. Yeah, we'll keep the speed brake out. That looks very washed out. Looks like it's super bright. Thought that was where you. No matter. So we got it. We're in good shape now. Speed brake is armed. So now it wants me to pull it back in. So we'll put that back in a bit. There's a little warning light right there telling me about speed brake. We're flying a 737 MAX, and we took off from Tahoe, and we're on our way to Yuma. United flight. We've had a few issues as Matthew has been along with the flight mostly all the way through, I believe, as he might contest that we've had some issues. And he's sticking around to see me crash and burn probably, right, Matt? Or Matthew, I should say. I mean, so far it's looking pretty good. Like it's not we're not way out of whack here. One moment, I gotta get rid of this itchy nose business. It gets hot in my room. A little coughing fit there. But we're back. Okay. Wish I could remember how to turn this brightness down. It's not there. It doesn't matter. I don't want to get distracted with that nonsense. 16,000 feet. It looked like we're in good shape coming down. So our target is 3,100. Two before 3,100. We'll start. I'll probably start deploying flaps here. What do we got there? We got, how many miles have we got in between? We got 13, 8. I want to be probably fully configured by rugs. That gives me about 10 miles out, and I'd like to be fully configured by there. So rugs, which is right here, I think, or is it there? That's rugs right there. I want to be fully configured, full flaps, ready to put it on the deck. And the only thing I want to worry about is managing speed and some altitude. I'll change my 3,100 once I pass. What's that waypoint there again? Once I pass Wiggs, I'll probably dial my altitude down to 2,000. Runway elevation is 200 feet-ish. And hopefully I'll remember everything that I'm supposed to do. We'll find out. 12,000. I think my Matthew, I think I know what my issue was with the beep 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 sound. I did not have pitot heat on. No, stop that nonsense. I see what I'm doing. I think I understand. There's a series of keys on my keyboard that I'm pushing, and that's what's actually making it drift off to the side like that. I'll need to be more mindful of which keys I'm pressing, because I just did it again. I don't remember which keys I pressed. I think it was Shift and A or something like that. And I think that's what's caused the aircraft to veer off course. We're on our way to Ikati, I guess it's called. I can probably zoom this in just a tad. In, not out. There we go. Yeah, so summer's Somewhere's around this rugs area, and wigs right here. I'm gonna turn the altitude down to 2,000 here, so that when I hit rugs, I'll be at 2,000. My final is 1,200. I might even bring it down to the 1,200. We'll see. We'll play that by ear. See how it works out. So far, I think it's been going pretty good. So far, it looks good. It looks like I'm on track to put her on the deck. Do I have another instance of that kicking around somewhere that I'm not aware of? This is my, yeah. There we go. I should be getting closer to 3,000. And I'm a long way out from 3,000. I got 8 nautical miles to get to 3,000. This thing better start descending and better start doing it quickly. I mean, I'm 7,500 feet, so it's not horrible. One thing I wish I could understand is this barometric pressure. I'd like to have it set at whatever the barometric pressure is. So I'm suspecting. Let's see. Can we quickly pull that up? What is the barometric pressure for where we're going? Well, a little too late, I'm sure, but let's see if we can't pull it up. KNYL Yuma 30.02. Let me change that quickly. There we go. So we got that set right. We're going to be a little high. We want to be 3,000, so I'm gonna start dialing this back. I'm going to start with my first notch, which is probably incorrectly, but I'm going to do it anyways because I need to slow this thing down. Let me get some speed brake out. I'm at 5,000 feet, and it says above 3,000, so I'm technically still okay, but it feels like it's higher than I should be. I'll set it for 1,500. Okay, let's get our speed brake set. Let's drop out another notch of flaps. Let's flaps 10. We still got a little bit of time. Still got a little bit of time for landing. .160 knots. We're in good shape. Our profile is good. Let's get our speed brake put back and set. So Spoilers, that is, not speed brake. Speed brake spoilers. 165 knots. We're coming into our rugs where I wanted to be a little better on the altitude than I am. I'm still high, I feel like, but we're on our way down. Gear is coming down. According to the profile, I'm in still good shape. Ground. Speed brakes. Armed. That's armed. 2700. 2500. Well, Matthew, I'm assuming you're with me. Hopefully. Runway right there. We're looking like we're in good shape. Our final turn is 4.7 to the runway, which is not bad. And we're on our way down. 800 feet a minute. As soon as I turn in on the final, I plan to disengage and bring it in. And we got probably about 3 miles to the turn. Right there. Full flap. All right. Let's disengage the autopilot. Throttle off. Got the turn in a little late, I think.
1,000.
Here we go.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
A little low. Trying to get the thing turned back online. We'll see how disastrous this is. Not something I do often, but now I'm off center that way. All right.
Approaching minimums.
Continue.
50. 40, 30, 20, 10.
And we're down. Well, I would say that landing wasn't horrible. I would say the landing was pretty decent. So we'll taxi up here to the end here, and we'll come across, and I think the parking is just up there. Man, I wish this display wasn't so bright. It's actually very distracting. And how bright that thing is. Oh, that's better. Oh man, that's way better. I can actually see something. Holy. We'll be fixing that next flight. We'll just find ourselves a little parking spot here, just up here anywheres, and yeah, and we'll call that a flight. Those that watched throughout, appreciate your watching. Those that commented, appreciate the comments. This is Raymond, Stream Gamers. As I said before, I'm intending to do more of this. That's my plan, anyways. If there's specific aircrafts you'd like me to try, I'm just going to park it here. If there's specific aircrafts you'd like me to fly and blunder as much as I've blundered this one, let me know. Otherwise, a like, comments, subscribe. Subscribes are really important. Likes are really important. As you all know, it helps with the algorithm and helps putting this out to more and more people. I'm really trying to grow the community, and so I would appreciate all of that. Anyways, Raymond, Stream Gamers. Look, don't sweat the little things. The little things will look after themselves. The big ones that you need to worry about, get them done, get them taken care of if you're able to. If you're not, then you're not. Most importantly, be happy, be kind. Very important. Be kind. Give somebody a smile when you're walking past them. You have no idea how that lightens up their day, and likewise, they may do the same for you. Again, Raymond, Stream Gamers. Appreciate all of your likes, comments, and subscriptions, and so forth. Keep it coming, and until the next one, bye-bye now. By the way, Matthew, I think the landing was okay. If you weren't there to see it, you'll be able to see it later on. I thought the landing was pretty good. Anyways, thank you all. Bye now.